Day 111, the DynCorp harvest. What we do in this series is we follow oil pipelines, and from that, if you just follow oil pipelines, you discover these rat lines, and these rat lines are illicit trade. They're illicit trade in organs, sex for kids and women, drug trafficking, arms trafficking. And so we follow DynCorp, and we're looking at DynCorp's move from the international space, where it's had a lot of trouble overseas in Bosnia and Kosovo and so forth, and then Haiti, and how that has moved into the United States as a part of a program called Joint Task Force on Terror. So we're going to drill down a little bit today on journalism. And saw this data-driven journalism piece that someone quoted for me. Thank you for the reference, the blogger who put this out there. But it talks about how most news is just kind of delivered to you as data, and then you really don't have any filter to see the credibility of that or not. So it's CNN versus George, or whoever. Very infrequently is it data aggregated with proof points to visualize it, and almost never do they go into the why, the story. But I just wanted to show, this is a secret document from the CIA. It's in 1983. And you wouldn't even have to change, you'd only have to change the date to bring it up to date to right now, which is we need to bring muscle to bear against Syria. And it says we need to sharply escalate the pressure against Assad to covertly orchestrate simultaneous military threats in Syria from 3 border states, Syria, Iraq, Israel, and Turkey. They just dropped out Israel. And the reason being is the sole goal is the opening of the pipeline. So if you knew this story, this 1983 story, you could have a filter against anything CNN says or anything the CIA says and say that's just patently false. I mean, it's obviously to try to put a pipeline through Syria. And that's what I strive for in the data-driven journalism. And that's why the 650,000 emails from these 19 State Department people are so important, because even just with one email, we completely changes our, the data set, changes our mindset. Even with just one proof point and one pattern, we can throw out everything that CNN has done in the last 18 months about Syria, or actually 5 years, because we know it's just not true. And that's why if we get these metadata or these Gmail accounts, it will just open up all of the foreign policy and the domestic program that the FBI is running through McCabe. Jason Chaffetz from House Oversight had a whole bunch of people protest last night, kind of the Soros protesters with waving arms, and some people are now coming up and pointing, and then they'll be throwing things like eggs soon. But what they were saying is, where is the line in the sand? What line does Trump have to cross in order for you to impeach Trump 3 weeks in? And the line is obvious. It's the Constitution and it's the law. And these 19 Gmail accounts were felony violations of the Federal Records Act. And my response to Chaffetz would be, the line for Trump is the same as it was for everyone else who works for the government. When you sign the pledge to go work for the government, if you break these laws, you have to pay the price. And I would just say, look, as soon as the FBI gives me the 19 Gmail accounts from the last investigation I was working on, I'll be glad to start the investigation on Trump. So this is another example I want to use of this data visualization and story. If you took the story that the CIA put out, they have beautiful graphics and so forth, and they were saying, right here there's trash building up in these canals, so we need to go in there with armed UN peacekeepers to clear this land because it's backing up all the trash. And then there's these other settlement areas where those need to be cleared because there could be rain and there could be mudslides. Well, I mapped the 7 new hotels to these spots in Port-au-Prince. That's the only place where people were being permanently removed. So it's, again, putting the two things together, and so you can have that lens to filter this. They wanted to move these people off this coastal area because here's the airport. This is all luxury and this is right now, is occupied by people. They wanted to move them out to these green spots. So one of the ways I'll show that is if you zoom in down here, this is this area right in here. If you didn't know, for instance, that Fort Dimanche, I think that means Sunday, right? It was the Haitian Auschwitz. This is where all the people were put to death right here during Papa Doc and Baby Doc. That was all CIA run hotel. This was exactly based on the Vietnam Phoenix Project. Bring them in here, torture them, find out who their friends are, kill them, bring in some more friends, do the same thing, and repeat. If you look at this little piece of land here called Cité Soleil, when Aristide finally came to power, popularly elected president, he named this Cité Simone, because I believe his wife was named Simone. And now they've changed that now that Aristide's been toppled again or forced out. But if you look at the airport, it aims almost like a gun right at Cité Soleil. They want that property so bad. And this Minister Logistics Center is right here at the end. It's like the bullet at the end of the gun aiming right at Cité Soleil. If you know this history again, you can see these things that come out, these beautiful infographics that are well done. I mean, I'm a beautiful author, but then you can kind of see through these cover stories, of, oh, it's garbage, or, oh, it's it's landslides and so forth. And you go, wait a minute here. But they don't build the hotel right away, so it'd be hard to know that. It's just, you need to, that's why I say again, we need to see the emails. This is Sammy, for instance, on the, with the guy who was kind of doing the import-exporting, let's call it, of whatever, I think a lot of frozen bodies, to be honest with you. But this is that sex operation that they set up, this Calico Club. And this, we heard the story that there was 33 women that were saved. We heard the story that there was 12 men arrested. But we didn't hear the story of who those 12 people were. We didn't hear the names of the 33 girls that were involved. We didn't have any reporters do any follow-up at all. We don't know anything about it. It could have been 33 girls kidnapped from Cité Soleil. They could still be sex slaves now, and we don't know if the 12 guys who were arrested were the 12 kidnappers that went down and got them. It's just basically, if everybody's playing this fake role, like, the manager for the banquets and so forth, if everybody's playing a fake role, you have no way of knowing without real reporting. So again, I'm encouraging anybody in Haiti to actually go and find this, because I think it's still in operation. And I think they're doing it at all 27 of Sammy's hotels still, until they provide me proof that they're not doing that. Go to the jail and show me pictures of mugshots of the people who got arrested if they didn't shut this thing down. Okay, that's what I'm just saying. The journalism has to go that next step. Now, the fact that Vince here's probably a good kid. A lot of times they hire FBI counterterrorism will use their kids in certain roles, and that's fine. I mean, I'm sure he thinks he's doing the right thing. But again, by compartmentalizing this rat line of bodies to Mirabale, he probably doesn't even know. Well, he might know that they're chopping up the bodies, but again, the revenge motive here is all of these guys in Cité Soleil are bad guys, so we need to send them to the glue factory, and let's take a picture of their faces on the way to the glue factory, that kind of thing. So if they hadn't figured out a way to reperfuse the heart even from a dead body, I wouldn't have put this up here. I wouldn't say there's this incentive now. But as the return for killing a political opponent goes up and up and up in value with the organs, I think the amount of transparency needed is even greater. Now, the fact that he worked Nazi Zudi worked in Oklahoma in 1985 doing pediatric heart transplants, very hard to get pediatric hearts. I'm not saying Zudi knew anything about going to Haiti and getting those little kid hearts, but that's when the relationship with Bill Clinton started with Haiti, with the rice going one way and the hearts coming back the other way. So, and then liver was added about 3 years after that with another physician. So my system's not responding here, so I'm going to probably just leave it at that and just say that the future of journalism is drilling down and getting the actual data and aggregating the data with multiple proof points rather than these kind of rip and read type press releases that everybody just repeats. So I'll do more later this afternoon.